Hi, I'm Sterling Hart, and this is Dreamlight, where we work with dream interpretation and using the insights in the waking life. How is it that you can dream the future? Precognitive dreams are quite common, and they are of two types. A symbolic dream, where the future event is put into symbolic language of dreaming, and an experience in accurate detail, where you see an event before you experience it in the waking. Most of the time, the two blend together. For instance, I had dreamed of a map being unfolded. And the next day, a man showed up needing to look at some of the river bottom on our property, and he unfolded a map. Now, I felt something even as he came in the driveway, and this image of the map stuck in my mind as a year later an advisor convinced me to study geography in college. The symbol of the map was rich, and it was somewhat accurate in detail. How is it we dream the future? There are many descriptions, but mostly they come down to three explanations. They are not exclusive. They complement each other, and one or the other is more useful for utilizing the insights gained from the dream. The first one is emanation, which says that the light shines from above, becoming dimmer as it descends. So the truth of things is expressed above and slowly descends and works itself out with less light till it enters ignorance and darkness. The high levels happen first, and it takes time to descend. Through your subliminal consciousness, you can see these higher levels, both in terms of what is meant to be via the truth of your being, and also before this begins to manifest in the material world. You can think of this like a novel being turned into a movie. The novel has to be reduced to a 2-hour format, so it gets dimmer, and some characters are combined, others omitted. The studio needs a big star love interest, so a relationship is exaggerated or changed from the novel in order to meet the needs of selling the movie. You get even further afield as the movie needs to be seen in different markets like China, so cultural sensibilities enter into the script. At the higher level, things are truer, but they lose some of their light and power. Other forces come in without a connection to the source of light, ones that have their own agendas, corrupt things, or only have the capacity to work out a partial truth. When we see things in the subliminal, we put them in terms of our own ability to understand it. So we see things as symbols, or sometimes accurate depictions, which themselves are symbols. Oftentimes, if you see a major event that affects the world, such as 9/11 or the Ukraine war, you will see not accurate details of the event, but rather what effect that event has on you personally. What emotions or changes in how you relate to the world, the self-knowledge is what will come through. Usually with enough details and symbolism that you can see what event it's related to. The second description is knowledge by identity, which posits that everything is consciousness, and this consciousness, one might use the word energy, contains power and knowledge. So, no matter how you frame something in your mind, an object has the power and knowledge to be what it is. By focusing your consciousness, which is essentially the same for any object or event, you can know by identifying with it. You can know its past, present, future, as well as its truth, its connections and relations to other objects in the web of being. This is dependent on how completely you can identify with it. The frame here is the key. A frame is how you limit something to be able to work with it, such as the concept of home, which includes the dwelling, but also the people and the activity. Also the internal activity, your emotions, how you feel about it. Because of the frame, your mind will only identify with limited aspects. You could identify with a person or an object, but also an event, anything you can grasp with your mind. But you are limited by your own self-restricted sense of who you are. You are limited by what is important to you, what you need from the contact with the object, and how that will advance you in becoming who you are. This knowledge by identity can be found in systems such as yoga or other forms of meditation. The focus is both on achieving high states of concentration, for instance, 6 hours or more without losing focus on a static object, such as a candle flame or a word, and also getting the mind to be quiet, open, receptive, and able to receive and be flexible. It needs to be a blank slate. In dreams, you remove the waking mind, and when you are able to go beneath the subconscious to the greater subliminal, it will tend to identify with things that are important to shaping who you are, or things that are acting on you, for instance, the greater truths descending from above via emanation. Anything you do can contribute to the concentration, such as thinking about a topic or visualizing it, any kind of focus. In the subliminal consciousness during dreams, it is not limited by the waking mind and its subconscious part, nor by the input of the senses, so it doesn't need the high states of concentration, though experiences of knowledge by identity run from glimpses to revelations. Most people seeing things are getting just glimpses that get reduced in scope so they're easily relatable. Sometimes instead of knowing, of course, it is more of a feeling. Over time, though, with a connection to the subliminal, you can, by focusing on something or even just asking, gain knowledge at a distance and in time. For complex things, such as dark matter, in physics, one must have preparation and lay the groundwork to even frame the subject and be able to understand an answer that will be fraught with difficulty because of what constitutes knowledge. After all, you need to be a trained physicist and also by what the effect of that knowledge will be on you and the needs of others. There could be many far-reaching consequences. Is the world really ready? The third description is commerce, and it is not so much about dealing with time as with contact with something or someone. The subliminal allows for subtle communication and exchanges of energy, and even travel to subtle realities, subtle dimensions or worlds. You can then converse and interact with people and beings on a subtle level. This is useful when you're dealing with experiences such as dreaming of someone before you meet them in the waking time, especially when the person appears in the dream realistically as a person, but not exact in detail with situations. Here it is better to approach it like you have been interacting with them before they appear. This can lead to better seeing of how people, events, and things unfold in your life. You can also see this in others in such things as relationships or even addictions, for instance, where they are affected and take on certain characteristics. Sociability can be a gift of alcohol, but you'll notice that many of these people are able to have an uncanny ability to acquire what they need, so they have an ability to contact others who can provide for them. The timescales for these things can be from dreaming the next day to years or decades ahead. The most common is to dream the next day symbolically, and this can happen regularly for a time, only to fade away and then return later. Seeing accurate details is less common, and though there are people who experience seeing accurate details of the next day, it usually is the case where accurate images are more likely to show events or an image of a place years ahead of time. But anything is possible. This is the end of part 1. If you got something out of this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you want more dreams, subscribe, or consider supporting the channel through the Patreon link below. Till next time.